Hi friends, it's Ashley again, back in a brand new format. Wow. Apologies if you followed me for comics. I'm gonna do what I want. So, if I want to make a YouTube video about how to make a 3D Cyclops girl, I'm just gonna do it. I gotta fill the niche because I'm the queen of niche content, It's just how it's gonna be. Long story short, I kind of found the previous format of my videos really tedious. I found this to be way better to, supplement the voiceovers with like some sort of moving image. Yeah, so this is Eyeball. Everybody say hi. I used to draw myself as a Cyclops in college, and I really leaned into it when I got sick, because you'll get body dysmorphia really bad when you lose all your hair. Just a fun fact. So a little bit about my background. I have a degree in animation, even though my degree says art. I did go for animation. I have experience with 3D modeling in Unity, and I was getting into the technical side of VTubing. I find it very fascinating. Just that technical side of the face tracking and everything and how accessible it is. And when I got into like what does it take to make a VTuber, I like looked at it and I was like, wow, I could do that. So here she is. But yeah, let's get to why you probably clicked on this video. So there's something special about Eyeball. It's pretty obvious. Eyeball is a Cyclops model. She is pretty much fully rigged. I didn't really add many blend shapes to her, mostly because I didn't want to, because if I'm just gonna use her in the corner of my videos, like I'm not a streamer. I don't need any like super based expressions, and I really just am using just a webcam. She's really just an experiment and really just something to keep like tracking the bottom of my videos so that you don't get bored, I guess. If you look around, there aren't very many 3D Cyclops models. The only 3D Cyclops girl that comes to mind is Japanese VTuber Haruse POPO. I will link her channel down below, but I know that there is a demand for it. I know that people have been Googling, because I was one of the people who Googled how to create a single-eyed VTuber model. So the demand is there. So if I can help you create a VTuber model to make a Cyclops girl, then that'll be enough. So, yeah, this video is about how to create your own Cyclops VTuber model. I struggled so that you didn't have to. Or is that the expression? Anyway, you're welcome. A quick note, this really isn't a tutorial per se. This video assumes you have a basic understanding of how to 3D model and use Unity to create VRM chat or VRM models. I'll link the videos of the guides I use to follow along to make Eyeball and to create VRM models, just because like it's always good to have that information to fall back on. But Eyeball was made using Blender and Unity 2018. But these steps can apply to most 3D art programs. I imagine it could probably work with Unreal too, as well, if you like using Unreal, but we're a Unity household. Modeling is a skill, so you could probably translate a lot of these skills to Maya from Blender, but for the technical terms of everything I've used, I use the Cats plugin in Blender. I use the VRM package to create the VRM model, as just the extra stuff, and I'll link that all down below. Okay, so now we're in Blender. So let us take a look at the models that I used to create Eyeball. On the right here, you will see the base model that I started with. This is just a basic mesh that I modeled myself. Super simple polygon, super simplistic. And on the left, this is actually Eyeball's model in here. This is the shaded flat version of her model. Let me shade smooth so you get a better idea of what these look like. I hate that. Never mind. So you can see that in the Cyclops model. We'll just grab annotation. This here is missing, obviously. So you essentially have to create this big eye socket shape when you create your model. And if we go into edit mode, you can see that there is that space where Eyeball had a nose. When I modified her from the anime model, I essentially merged. Let me annotate again. I merged this area together and left this nose area, but I just flattened it. And if you create a Cyclops model, you can have a nose. Don't let me stand in the way of your dreams. You can have a nose. But this is a basic anime head shape that I modeled myself. And when we look into the topology, you can definitely see how different these two are, right? So ignoring the subdivisions, the subdivision surface, you can definitely see that the space in between both eyes is missing. So essentially what you have to do is you have to take these circles. You got to keep that circle. You got to keep it. It can't go away. The circle has to stay, right? So you have to get rid of this area in between. So if you're working from a Vroid model, or you're working with a model that you bought, it's going to be a little more difficult than if you start with that. I did start with this. All you really have to do is mess around with the polys. If you're not super confident in your modeling, just save iteratives and just kind of play around with it. And you also want to carve out the shape really early on in your modeling process. So like Eyeball, basically from the first file after I imported this face, was merged into this. So you want to keep the nose area, because you want to keep this deformation happening. You want to keep these circles here, because that's how you're going to get the best deformations when the characters smile and things. That's why we model in circles. So let's try to make this model into a Cyclops. Let's get rid of the annotations. We're going to take that more. Grab our box model. I'm going to delete this. Delete faces. I personally find it easier to work with one half of a model and mirror it to the other side. We're just going to get rid of these back faces, the eye cavity. When you create character models, usually there is sort of, you can either do it to one of two ways. You can either have an actual eyeball in the socket, so like a sphere, like an added sphere, or just a plane. Most VTuber models just have the plane shape, and I find this way more flexible when you're rigging and modeling a VTuber. When you're doing things like animated shows or animated anything, an eyeball in a socket might be good, but I think if you want that really like cartoony look, you need to have that control. So we're gonna open that up. So we're just gonna, so this, you see how this kind of goes around? You want to keep this. You want to keep this going. So we want to get rid of, let's get rid of these faces. Let's get rid of these faces. Cool. So we're going to turn on vertex mode. I'm going to get rid of that too. we'll get rid of this inner part too. It'll just get in the way. So what you want to do, E to extrude, F to fill. E to extrude, F to fill. E to extrude, F. One thing you want to keep in mind is that when you're modeling, you probably want to keep lower topology. So, like, for example, if I wanted to edit this model, I'd have... Stop annotating. I'd have a pretty bad time. Look at all that. That's too much. That's too much. Don't do that. Don't edit like this. So you want to make sure that your mesh is simple as possible when you are editing. So then just gonna mirror modifier, bam, instant Cyclops. Wow, so fancy, so cool. Instant Cyclops. And then the one thing you probably want to do is, to make this part easy, is you want to go into object mode. Well, first let's do clipping. Make sure your mesh is clipped together. If I'm going too fast, I'm sorry. So now that your mesh is clipped together, what you want to do is you want to apply the mirror modifier. So you want to go into object, apply. Then you want to go to tab, control this edge, control F. That's control F, grid fill. Then hit the span a couple times till you get something that looks, yeah, see, looks awesome. So I know it doesn't look awesome, but hold on, that is just the fill, right? So we actually probably want to extrude, size, extrude, no. So double click this, you'll hit E, you want to hit S and make it smaller. Then you want to control F, and then you want to hit grid fill. And then you want to get something that looks pretty good. So something that's a little straight, like this, right? You want to take it, hit this edge. No, you want to hit all those faces, you want to hit E again. And you want to extrude back in. And maybe add a few edge loops to put in that cavity. Awesome. Instant Cyclops. And then, yeah, see, it's annoying to have to click on everything to like adjust it. So super simple. Flatten to your orthographic view. Hit edit mode. Box select. Hit your X-ray. Go into faces. Delete half your faces. Re-add your mirror modifier. Bam. Instant Cyclops. And if you just want to do a lash, let's say you want to do the double cat eye, like Eyeball does. You want to, let's take this edge. Let's move it in a bit. That's a little bit of a wonky edge. We'll make a new one. Okay. Better edge. So you want to get this edge somehow. If Blender will cooperate, you hit face. Okay. We will just select them all. Like, we'll just select them all. Like cavemen, I guess. Then you want to take, yeah. So around where your eyelash ends, that's where you want to take it. Then you want to hit Shift D. You want to right click, left click. Sorry, you want to Shift D to add the duplicate. Then you want to hit P by selection. Tab. Find your mesh for for the eyelash. Hit E. Hit S. Bam. It's an eyelash. It needs work, but you get the idea. You essentially want to make sure that your circles here on your face are still maintained. This cavity's okay. It is gonna eventually just have like these faces go up like this, but again, you want to keep the integrity of this and the integrity of this, because that's what's gonna get you those realistic deformations, especially on like a character that's a monster. You kind of have to work a little bit harder. So yeah, that is kind of an overview about what you want to do for the modeling phase. So keep that in mind to model the face. You can always come back to this part. You can always model a character with 2 eyes and then add a single eye on later. If you're using a Vroid model, it's probably going to be harder since Vroid models have their own way of formatting and doing things. But if you're making your model yourself, so this is really all you have to keep in mind during the modeling phase. Texturing phase, you want to texture as normal, texture the eyes normal as like you would if you had 2 eyes, but you're just doing 1. It's half the work. And then the real fun comes in during the rigging phase. So we will jump to that in the next bit. Okay, so here is Eyeball's completed rig. When you rig the model, you know, usually you're going to have the left and right eye. Annotate. You're usually going to have the left and... Let's change that color. As you know, when you have a VTuber model, you're going to have the regular eyes here and here, right? For the Cyclops, you don't need that. So when you label your bones, let's go into edit mode, armature, edit mode. Let's go into our bones. You'll see this is labeled center eye with a space, and this one here is labeled center eye with no space. Note when you fix a model with a CATS plugin, it might add the extra bones into the side. You can just ignore them or delete them. It's just try not to get yourself confused if you do label these as anything other than center eye. Just make sure to left or right. I left it center so that way I could just track it whenever. I could just assign the tracker in Unity, but you really only need to worry about the one eye and rigging for the one eye. You don't need to worry about anything else. Blend shapes. Let's take a look at her blend shapes. I don't know if I have the right rig for this, but here, blend shapes. So you will have to, you know, do the blend shapes for her eye, all 4 that are, you know, left, right, down, up. And one tip I kept noticing is that if your eye is really big, like Eyeballs, you might have to scale it down just a bit and back it up before you really start getting into your blend shapes, mostly because you might experience some clipping when she blinks, which isn't fun. Also, in your blend shapes, you don't really have to make a blink R, blink L. You can just assign them in Unity. In fact, let's open up Unity now. Okay, so now we're in Unity. We're going to drag and drop our FBX. Let's see. Good form to always put it at 0, 0, 0. Just want to click on Eyeball, right? Just click on Eyeball's base rig. You want to go into Rig, and when you're selecting, you know, during your regular VRM processing, from FBX to VRM. You want to hit humanoid, you want to hit configure, and then you want to go into save. Then you want to go into the rig, right? So you want to go into this. And she doesn't have an upper chest, so this all tracks. Make sure this is good. I gotta move the window a little bit so you can see better. Okay. So here on this side, you want to make sure that jaw has none, unless your model has a jaw, and then you want to pick either the left or right eye. This is why I chose to name mine center eye, so I got to choose. I have a 2-monitor setup, so whenever I naturally look at my second monitor, she looks like she's looking into the screen, which is, I think, better. But if you only have one screen and you only have a straight-on webcam, I guess it doesn't really matter, but, you know, keep that in mind if you have a bigger setup or if you have more monitors that where you're looking and where you're going to be looking. Okay, so then let's go into her main VRMs. Alright, now that we're here, I'm going to put in her main VRM file, and I will just do that real quick. And pull out this one. Alright. So the big thing also is under blend shapes, when you assign the blend shapes, the last thing is that when you have blink R and blink L, you just assign your normal blinks. So let's reset those so I can show you. Go into your blink, hit body, find where your blink is, and assign it. You know, export as normal, export as you would any normal VRM. But yeah, that's the overall things I kept in mind when making Eyeball. I think the results came out pretty good. But yeah, if you use this video to create your own Cyclops monster, I'd love to see it. Your own Cyclops Vtuber, I'm sorry. Feel free to comment below if you also have any VTubers that are Cyclopses or monsters that you would like to show me, because I'm always out there looking for the weird and wonky VTubers, which is why I made one myself. But that's all I have for you guys today. I hope you have a good day, and I hope this helped. Bye!